I think the likelihood of us actually getting to a place where we can back the dollar with these assets is extremely low. But the likelihood that I'm gonna ever bench 1,000 pounds is also extremely low, but I'm gonna keep working out. Mm-hmm. So it doesn't mean that we shouldn't strive for it.
So last week, you were on the beach or something, right?
Yeah.
I was at Freedom Fest, which is
doing hard work.
I really was, but we were there my media company was there for Freedom Fest, for King Operating, shout out to them. And there was a lot of politicians, and one of them was RFK. And
you guys were sitting like feet from him.
Well, we actually, through an associate of both of ours,
talked your way.
We did. We got our way into I don't know what you would call it, but
fundraiser.
It wasn't a fundraiser though.
Wow, it's always
a political party.
Yeah.
And Robert F. Kennedy Jr. was there, and surprisingly to me, there was like a huge crypto Bitcoin contingent there. And it was like a who's who of this world. And I immediately, we were both texting Lee, is like, you should be here. Peter McCormack flew in there, Perion was there, several Puerto Rico guys were there.
Mark Moss was there.
So anyway, that has nothing to do with the story, but I just was like, I wanted to.
Well, it kind of does, because I think he has for so long been a champion of privacy, freedom, and there's a lot of things swirling around him too. There's some nuance there, some stuff around what he's said in the past. Maybe sometimes he gets off into some conspiracy theory land, but he has had a very long history of fighting and advocating for privacy and freedom. So I think that is commendable, respectable. And so when he kind of makes this comment around what his platform is for Bitcoin, not only the changes to the capital gains tax, but also the basket of hard assets that includes Bitcoin to back the dollar. Of course, there's gold and other hard assets in there. It's reputable, because he's not just pulling a Mayor Adams on us, the New York mayor that got really pro Bitcoin for a second and then pulled back. He's actually had a track record. So,
do you think that the going all in, and by all in on Bitcoin, we can address that in a second, but being the Bitcoin candidate, do you think that has something to do with him being a speaker at Bitcoin Miami, and then maybe riding that wave of, oh wow, a lot of people support me if I do this? Or do you think there's a genuine attachment to it?
I think there's probably both. He sees it as freedom money. He is also, his polling, the polling folks are saying, hey, this is polling really well, especially amongst younger and independent voters from across the spectrum. So it wouldn't work if it wasn't both, right? He has to have that genuine attachment, but also the pollsters have to say, yeah, you can go out there and be really hard in the paint on this.
And then one thing we were talking about right before we went on live was how, it's funny how in this world where we hear what we want to hear, where it's like the US dollar is going to be backed by Bitcoin and palladium and platinum and gold and silver. And then what you were saying is like the Bitcoin was like 1%.
Well, I think that's a flexible policy statement, right? He's going to get a basket of hard assets. This is a very far-fetched idea. It is a good idea, but it would be extremely difficult to execute just given the monetary policy over the last several decades. So I think the likelihood of us actually getting to a place where we can back the dollar with these assets is extremely low. But the likelihood that I'm going to ever bench 1,000 pounds is also extremely low, but I'm going to keep working out. So it doesn't mean that we shouldn't strive for it.
And I think another one of the main, I think the out of all the things he's been saying lately, the biggest thing that I heard was his stance on capital gains.
And that's more achievable.
Yeah.
And I think also more, as Bitcoin's volatility compresses into smaller windows, it's always going to be volatile. It's a commodity. There are strong arguments to be made that the capital gains, the oppressive capital gains obligations are just that. They're oppressive. And especially the light kind, if you want to switch from Bitcoin to ETH, the fact that that is not like kind is also a little concerning.
Well, I think, and I don't know if it's a current or if it's proposed, but a President Biden policy is 30% on crypto tax.
Well, so that was for the mining.
Okay.
He proposed 30% extra on mining, taxing electricity. But Bitcoin is just taxed at the traditional capital gains, whatever your capital gains bracket is, short-term, long-term, depending on whether you sold it within a year or you've held it for longer than a year.
Mm-hmm. And as far as like the policies that with RFK, what he believes in, like to me, the layman, which I always am, feels like the capital gains is like you said, the most achievable, but it's actually the most impactful when it comes to your day-to-day Bitcoiners.
Yeah.
At least the ones that are either trading or have, if you bought in 2010, 2011, and then rode this wave, and now we're, a trillionaire or something.
Maybe we have less people going to Puerto Rico to take advantage of the
That's probably true.
the tax shelter
Yeah.
there.
Hey, it's Amy. Click over here to subscribe, click over here for more content, and we'll see you next time.